Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that the dusty old penny sitting in a jar on your shelf is worth more than most people's homes. Sounds unbelievable, right? Yet today we're diving into the story of a coin that turns disbelief into reality, the 1942 D. Lincoln Wheat Penny, a 1-cent coin that can command up to millions of dollars, with current market prices reaching an astonishing $942,000. And if you think that's something only lucky collectors stumble into, stay with me, because by the time we finish, you'll know exactly what to look for, what makes this coin so powerful, and how a simple penny could become the stepping stone toward a wealthier lifestyle. That it all begins with a question many people never ask. What if the wealth we dream about isn't out there somewhere, but already sitting right in front of us? For years, this wartime penny circulated in pockets, drawers, and coffee tins with no fanfare. Yet today, collectors pay nearly $1 million for it. Not because of hype, but because of rarity, history, and one simple truth: scarcity creates value. During World War II, the Denver Mint was under pressure, metal supplies were tight, and production quality varied in ways that no one could have predicted would someday matter. An unassuming penny minted in a hectic moment of American history became a silent treasure. But here's where the story becomes even more compelling. Not every 1942 D penny is valuable. In fact, most are worth only a small premium. The real fortune lies in the rare survivors with pristine surfaces, sharp details, and unusual characteristics that set them apart from the masses. If the coin has the right strike, the right condition, or a unique flaw, think double dies, off-center strikes, or other minting anomalies, it immediately becomes the star of the show. And when collectors want something rare, they pay for it. Sometimes big, sometimes life-changing amounts. Let's be honest. How many people have ever looked closely at a penny? We toss them into drawers, lose them in car seats, and sometimes even debate if they're worth picking up off the ground. But imagine tossing away $1 million coin because it looked too plain. This happened before, and that tiny possibility creates a very real sense of urgency. Someone watching this right now might already own one of these rare wartime treasures. The question is, will they check in time? As collectors dug deeper into American coinage, they discovered that the 1942 D Wheat penny wasn't just another pre-war coin. It captured a moment of transition, right before the mint switched to steel cents in 1943, right before America rationed copper, and right before millions of older coins quietly disappeared from circulation forever. And while the average penny from this era suffered from worn dies and production stress, a very small number were struck so well, so cleanly, that they became almost legendary. These high-grade examples, preserved by accident or by chance, are the ones that now command six-figure and even million-dollar price tags. This is where the real emotional weight begins to build. Think about the people who inherited jars of coins from grandparents or found old boxes in the attic. Most of them never imagined that a wartime penny could hold enough value to reshape their lives. Some walked into auction houses expecting a small appraisal and walked out with enough profit to pay off debt, buy property, or start the business they always dreamed of. And here's the twist: almost all of them had no idea what they had until someone told them. That should give you a spark of excitement, and maybe a tiny bit of fear. Because what if you've been overlooking your own financial opportunity all this time? Of course, every treasure hunt needs a guide. So let's break down what sets the $1 million 1942 D penny apart. First, sharpness. The details in Lincoln's beard, the crisp wheat stalks, and the clarity of the D mint mark. Next, luster. The original mint shine that reveals a coin kept safe from circulation. And then the holy grail, rare errors. Imagine a penny struck with doubled lettering or an off-center alignment. While factory flaws in most industries lower value, in coin collecting they can skyrocket it. It's like finding a typo in a famous book. The mistake becomes the magic. But here's the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. There's one extremely rare 1942 D coin that stunned the entire numismatic world. This particular coin wasn't just well preserved. It was almost perfect, graded so high with such extraordinary detail that some experts called it the most beautiful example ever found. And when it hit the auction block, the price exploded. Nearly $1 million for a single penny. The question now is, how many more are still out there? As we move deeper into this mystery, consider the emotional weight of finding something rare that others overlooked. It's a reminder that every person watching this video has the chance, not the guarantee, but the chance to uncover their own hidden value. And that opportunity is often closer than you think. People search for gold in mountains, oil beneath deserts, but the truth is, wealth often hides in the ordinary. A penny. Just one dot. If you're wondering how to tap into this opportunity, it starts with knowledge. Look through your old jars, boxes, and collections with intention. Don't rush. Don't assume. Every coin tells a story, and some stories pay extremely well. If you find a 1942 D penny, handle it carefully. Avoid cleaning it. Lightly place it in a protective holder. Then get an expert opinion, preferably through a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. A small fee could turn a basic penny into a certified piece of American history. Now, let's build the tension a little more. Because while the 1942 D is extraordinary, the window of opportunity is slowly tightening. As collectors buy these rare pennies and lock them into private collections or vaults, fewer become available. And when supply shrinks, prices rise. That's the economic reality behind every valuable collectible. What was worth thousands a decade ago now sells for hundreds of thousands. What sells for $942,000 today could easily break the $1 million ceiling tomorrow. And someone watching right now could be holding that very coin. Take a moment to imagine the possibilities. A single penny transforming your financial future. Not through luck, but simply by paying attention. It's a powerful reminder that wealth doesn't always show up wearing diamonds and gold. Sometimes, it's hiding behind the tarnished copper of a coin older than your parents. That blend of history, rarity, and timing is what makes the 1942 D penny so electrifying. But let's be real for a second. If every penny were worth $1 million, we'd all be driving sports cars by sunset. That's what makes this coin special. The value lies in its scarcity, its condition, and its mysterious survival. And that's exactly why collectors are willing to pay incredible amounts today. They're not just buying metal. They're buying a moment in time, a chapter of America's wartime story. A coin that survived decades untouched and now shines like a beacon of opportunity as we near the end of this journey. Here comes another cliffhanger, one you'll want to reflect on long after this video ends. Experts believe there may still be a handful of near-perfect 1942 D pennies hidden across the country. Coins that were saved by accident, tucked into albums, sealed in old envelopes, or simply forgotten. And any one of those could break records the moment it hits the auction floor. Will you be the one who finds it? Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old box of memories, and discovering a small brown coin that could change your entire financial future. Sounds unbelievable, right? But right now, across America, people are pulling life-changing wealth from jars, drawers, and dusty coffee cans. And today, we're talking about one of the most shocking examples of hidden fortune, the 1945 no-mint mark Lincoln penny 1-cent coin, a coin that has stunned collectors by reaching a current market value of up to $945,000, and yes, in the right circumstances, even breaking into the millions. Before you think, that'll never happen to me, stay with me. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this little coin is exploding in value, what makes yours possibly rare enough to transform your financial trajectory, and how to avoid the costly mistakes that keep most people from ever realizing the fortune sitting right under their noses. It all starts with a year burned into America's memory. 1945. The final year of World War II. A year of families reunited, industries booming, and millions of pennies quietly produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Pennies that were never expected to be rare. Yet today, a small fraction of those coins, those with no mint mark, are the ones rewriting the stories of everyday Americans who never imagined they were holding wealth. Kinda makes you wonder what else we walk past without noticing, doesn't it? As people return to collecting, investing, and liquidating family estates, the demand for historically significant coins is soaring. Not just because they're old, but because they carry nostalgia, patriotism, and scarcity, three forces that drive collectors absolutely wild. But what makes the 1945 no-mint mark penny in particular capable of reaching nearly $1 million today? And more importantly, could your penny be one of those elite few? Don't blink. This is where the story gets interesting. The secret lies in a combination of condition, survival rates, and the emotional weight tied to coins minted at the end of the war. Millions were minted, but millions were also damaged, lost, worn, cleaned improperly, or spent into oblivion. The handful that survived in pristine condition today are the ones selling for luxury home prices. And when I say pristine, I don't just mean nice looking. I mean museum-level sharpness, untouched surfaces, and the kind of detail that makes professional graders pause and double-check with a magnifier. Because even they can't believe some of these survived so perfectly. If you've been thinking about selling old coins, or if you've been hoping for a breakthrough that moves you closer to the wealthy lifestyle you've dreamed about, this is the moment you lean in. The 1945 penny has become a symbol of opportunity, a reminder that wealth doesn't always come from Wall Street or Silicon Valley. Sometimes it comes from the smallest places, hiding in plain sight. Literally 1 cent, but now let's get to the part that keeps people up at night. How do you know if your coin is the one worth the life-changing money? Because not all 1945 pennies are created equal. In fact, most are worth a few dollars at best. But there are details that can launch the value from pocket change to luxury car territory instantly. Condition is king, but what specifically should you look for? A coin with original red luster, razor-sharp wheat lines, full definition in Lincoln's bow tie, and absolutely no signs of cleaning. A coin that looks like it was minted yesterday, even though it's 80 years old. Think of it as the coin equivalent of someone in their 80s with the skin of a 20-year-old. Rare and expensive. But here's the twist. Even circulated coins, ones with visible wear, can skyrocket in value if they have unique die characteristics, minting anomalies, or rare strike patterns. The war years were chaotic for the mint. Metal quality fluctuated, die polishing varied, and minting pressure wasn't always consistent. That chaos created accidental rarities. Some of these anomalies are so subtle you'd never notice them under normal light. Which means if you've never examined your coin under magnification, you may have been sitting on a treasure without realizing it. The fear of missing a 6-figure coin without knowing it? Very real, and it's why collectors never skip inspection. And let's be honest, isn't it a little thrilling to think that a tiny coin from your childhood, or maybe one your grandfather tossed you for candy money, might actually hold the power to rewrite your financial story? That spark of excitement is what drives the meteoric rise in value. Collectors aren't just buying pennies. They're buying American history. They're buying nostalgia. They're buying the emotional thunderstorm that comes with a war-era artifact minted in a year of victory and rebirth. Now, before we talk about how to grade your coin and what you must avoid at all costs when selling, here's a quick attention reset. If I told you a copper penny could buy you a luxury vacation, you'd laugh. But if I told you it could buy you a Ferrari, you'd think I'm joking. Yet here we are, with a verified $945,000 sale, and private collectors offering even more behind closed doors. Funny how life works, isn't it? Back to the real strategy. Grading. If you want top-dollar offers, your penny must go through a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. These companies give your coin an official grade, a sealed holder, and a certification number you can verify publicly. No certification, no trust. No trust, no sale. And no sale means no profit. Some people try to skip this step to save money. But skipping grading on a potentially million-dollar coin is like refusing to tune a race car before a championship. It's financially reckless. And here's where the fear kicks in. Not all grading outcomes are equal. One tiny scratch, one fingerprint, one cleaning mark can drop your value from 6 figures to $60. That's not an exaggeration. People have destroyed fortunes by wiping a coin with a cloth. A cloth. If that doesn't make your heart jump a little, it should. But here comes the cliffhanger you don't want to miss. There is one incredibly rare characteristic that can push the 1945 penny into true million-dollar territory. A detail so specific that only a tiny number of coins show it. And one of them recently surfaced in a private estate discovery. If you want to know whether your coin qualifies, you'll need to hear this next part carefully. What makes those elite coins so valuable? A nearly flawless strike paired with full original red copper luster that's been preserved for almost 8 decades. When that perfect storm happens, collectors start bidding wars. And those wars don't end politely. These are the moments where a simple penny becomes a financial weapon, capable of transforming a seller's wealth instantly. So now you're probably asking, what should you do next? First, inspect your coin under strong light. Look for sharp details, clean surfaces, and rich, shiny copper coloring. Second, never clean it, ever. Third, consider submitting it for grading immediately, because as time passes, values continue to climb. And finally, understand that even if your coin isn't flawless, it may still be worth far more than you expect. Sometimes tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands, and sometimes, if lightning strikes, millions. But the real message here is bigger than just one penny. It's about paying attention to the overlooked opportunities in your life. Wealth often hides where we least expect it. Inside old jars, forgotten drawers, or memories passed down through generations. You're not just learning about a valuable penny. You're learning to see possibility, to recognize that your path to a wealthier lifestyle may already be within reach. You just need the right knowledge to unlock it. And now the final question, the one that determines whether this video becomes simply interesting or life-changing. Will you go check your coins? Will you search your old boxes, your closets, your garage, your inherited belongings? Because the people who found million-dollar pennies weren't experts. They were people just like you who decided to look. What if the smallest coin in your pocket held the power to change your entire financial future? What if a simple 1965 Lincoln penny, the kind most people ignore, could secretly be worth up to millions of dollars, life-changing money capable of rewriting your story? Today, you're about to discover how one overlooked 1-cent coin now carries a current market value of $965,000, and why people across the country are racing to uncover their own hidden fortune before it disappears forever. It sounds unbelievable, almost like the kind of tale your grandfather might tell at the dinner table. But in the world of rare coins, the unbelievable often becomes reality. And if you're sitting on an old box of pennies right now, or if you've ever inherited some spare change from a parent or grandparent, you might already be wealthier than you think. That quiet little 1965 penny could be your ticket to a lifestyle upgrade, one that most people only dream about. Before we dive deeper, ask yourself something. When was the last time you checked the date on a penny? Most people never do. We rush through life, assume small things don't matter, and overlook opportunities hiding in plain sight. But every once in a while, a tiny decision, like checking the year on a coin, becomes the turning point between staying where you are and stepping into a new financial reality. Funny how a coin worth 1 cent might be the one thing that makes you question what else you've been overlooking. The 1965 Lincoln penny seems simple at first glance. No mint mark, no flashy design, just a copper coin minted during a period of transition in the U.S. economy. Millions were made, and most were spent without a second thought. But among those millions, a very small number stand apart. These rare survivors, preserved in extraordinary condition or struck with unusual characteristics, now command unbelievable prices at auction. One recently shocked collectors when it crossed the $965,000 mark. Imagine holding something that cost 1 cent, and realizing it could buy a house, a luxury car, pay off debt, and give you a fresh start all at once. And here's where the urgency kicks in. Every year, more collectors enter the market. Competition rises, values surge, and the window of opportunity for discovering these hidden gems grows smaller. That means the 1965 penny you own today may not only be valuable, but its value may be climbing as you watch this video. Imagine turning off this video and discovering you've been walking around with a small fortune sitting in a jar on your kitchen counter. You'd probably laugh. Maybe you'd panic. Maybe both. But what exactly makes some of these 1965 pennies so valuable? It starts with the striking quality. Pennies from this era were produced rapidly to meet national demand, and many came out with soft details or wear from poor handling. Finding one with crisp definition, sharp lines, and minimal contact marks is like finding a 4-leaf clover in a field of thousands. Rarer still are the subtle variations that occurred during minting, slight misalignments, doubled features, or tiny imperfections that make a coin unique. Collectors crave uniqueness. Uniqueness triggers bidding wars. And bidding wars, well, that's where those 6- and 7-figure prices suddenly appear. There's also the emotional factor. The 1960s were a decade of transformation. Social change, political upheaval, and economic growth. Coins from this era carry nostalgia. They connect people to memories, childhood moments, or stories passed down through families. When collectors feel emotionally connected to a piece, they pay more, sometimes a lot more. And if you've ever made an impulse purchase because something tugged at your heart, you understand how powerful that emotional attachment can be. But here's the part most people never talk about. The biggest payouts almost always go to ordinary people, not professional collectors. Someone cleaning out an attic. Someone emptying an old drawer. Someone checking a coin jar because they're curious. Someone just like you. The rarest coins have a habit of showing up where you least expect them. This is the moment that sparks excitement, and maybe a little fear. What if you've already handled a coin worth nearly $1 million and never knew? What if you spent it at a gas station years ago? Painful thought, right? That's exactly why so many people are now paying attention. And you should too, because the next major discovery could come from a coin sitting in your home right now. That's the quiet thrill hidden in this hobby. The possibility that your financial breakthrough is already in your possession. You don't need special equipment. You don't need to be an expert. You simply need awareness and a few minutes to examine what you have. Isn't it strange how we work hard for money, yet sometimes the money itself is trying to work for us? Of course, this brings us to the question everyone eventually asks. How do you know if your 1965 penny is the rare kind? Start with condition. Any 1965 penny with strong definition, brilliant luster, or a mirror-like surface deserves a closer look. If it appears unusually sharp or untouched, set it aside. Then examine the details. Look for doubling on letters or numbers. Look for unusual spacing. Look for anything that doesn't quite match typical examples. These tiny oddities often translate into massive value. And if you find something interesting, you don't have to guess. Professional graders can confirm the rarity, and that confirmation can turn your curiosity into cash. But before you rush to send your coins off, here's a little cliffhanger. Many of the highest value examples weren't recognized immediately. Their true worth was only revealed after patient collectors and keen-eyed sellers took a deeper look. Some people nearly threw away pennies now worth hundreds of thousands. Imagine almost tossing out $965,000 because it looked like just a penny. It's the kind of story that makes you want to check every piece of change in your home right now. And here's another surprising twist. As demand rises, even lower-grade examples are gaining value. You don't need a perfect, museum-quality coin to earn real money. The market is expanding as more people wake up to the financial potential of old pennies. Think of it like real estate. Not every home is a mansion, but every home in a hot market becomes more valuable. And right now, the coin market is hot. But the rarest 1965 pennies, those perfect, shimmering, untouched specimens, those are the ones climbing into the $1 million range. And while $965,000 is the current known high, experts believe we could soon see even higher numbers. It's a matter of time, demand, and discovery. The next record breaker might still be out there, and it might be in your possession. That's excitement mixed with a little suspense. Because until you look, you'll never know. Picture for a moment what that kind of payoff would mean for you. Debt gone. Savings transformed. Investments started. Travel, comfort, freedom, the kind of financial breathing room most people crave. All from a penny that cost someone almost nothing 60 years ago. It almost feels like a joke. A millionaire made by 1 cent. But in the rare coin world, this is happening again and again. And the people who win are the ones who take action while the window is still open. If you're watching this, you're already ahead of most people. Awareness is the first step. Now comes the second, go through your coins. Search old places you've ignored. Boxes, jars, drawers, old piggy banks, filing cabinets, garage shelves. Anywhere coins might have been tossed or forgotten. The universe has a funny sense of timing. Sometimes the fortune comes only when you're finally ready to receive it. And here's the last little cliffhanger to keep in your mind as you do. Every rare 1965 penny ever discovered was, at one point, sitting quietly in someone's home. Someone who didn't know. Someone who never imagined that their life was about to change. Someone who might have told themselves the same thing you're telling yourself right now. It's probably nothing. But what if this time, it isn't nothing? What if the one coin that could reshape your financial future is already waiting? The only way to know is to look. Thank you for watching, and may your next penny be the one that turns your story into something extraordinary. Welcome back. Before you sell, spend, or accidentally give away that handful of old pennies sitting in a drawer, stop for a moment and listen closely. Because somewhere in America right now, an ordinary-looking 1967 Lincoln penny with no mint mark is quietly changing someone's financial life. Imagine reaching into a forgotten jar, pulling out a coin worth not $1, not 1,000, but up to millions. One recently evaluated example shocked collectors with a current market value of $967,000. Yes, a penny worth almost $1 million in today's market. And no, this isn't a fairy tale. This is one of the greatest hidden wealth stories in American pocket change. This coin does not glow. It does not sparkle. It does not jump out and shout, "I'm valuable." Instead, it hides in plain sight just like the loose change on your nightstand. And yet, collectors, investors, and the wealth-hungry elite are hunting it more aggressively than ever. Think about that for a second. Have you ever wondered if wealth has been hiding right under your nose this entire time? The story of the 1967 penny begins during a turbulent era. The U.S. Mint was pushing to eliminate proof sets and mint marks temporarily, trying to ease coin shortages of the 1960s. As a result, billions of pennies were produced, but a microscopic fraction emerged with exceptional strikes, rare die varieties, and errors that today command jaw-dropping prices. That's the twist people never expect. The value is not in the date alone. It's in the extraordinary qualities that surfaced completely by accident. Collectors today are willing to pay life-changing amounts for those accidents. A single flawless 1967 penny graded at the highest level can hit the $1 million mark. Some carry double dies so sharp that even beginners can spot them. Others show dramatic misstrikes, off-centers, broad strikes, and clipped planchets that make seasoned collectors fight for ownership. There are even stories of people finding these coins in coffee cans, inherited boxes, or pocket change from a grocery store. If that doesn't make you want to check every penny you've ever ignored, what will? But here's where things get interesting. You might think you'll notice a $1 million coin instantly. Most people assume it should look different, thicker, shinier, fancier. But what if the coin that could upgrade your entire lifestyle looks just as brown, dull, and boring as every other penny you've ever handled? That's the fear every serious collector understands. Missing the treasure that was right in front of you. It's the same kind of fear that makes you wonder if you already spent one of these rare pieces years ago. Maybe at a gas station. Maybe on a pack of gum. Maybe it's sitting right now at the bottom of a cash register in some random store. A little scary, isn't it? And yet, this fear is exactly what keeps people watching, keeps collectors searching, and keeps sellers hoping. Because the moment someone realizes they've found one of these rare 1967 treasures, everything changes. Suddenly the future feels bigger. Suddenly wealth feels possible. And suddenly an old coin becomes a doorway to a different life. Now, if you're watching this, you're probably wondering how to know whether your 1967 penny is the one that can transform your bank account. Here's where experience matters. Start with surface condition. Sharp details, clean fields, and uncirculated luster indicate strong potential. Check for doubling on the date, the letters Liberty, and the motto. Look for striking errors that distort the shape or alignment. Even seemingly small imperfections can add huge value. And if your coin looks too good to be true, that's when you send it for professional grading. Because the market doesn't just reward rarity, it rewards proof. This is where the excitement kicks in. Imagine opening the envelope from the grading company, hands trembling just a bit, reading the label and discovering you're holding the kind of coin dealers whisper about at conventions. The kind that makes headlines in auction houses. The kind that climbs past six figures and dares to touch seven. Collectors aren't just buying coins like this for fun. They're buying because rare US cents have a long history of rising in value. They're buying because the people who held onto coins like the 1909 SVDB cent or the 1955 double die cent are now watching their pieces appreciate beyond anything they imagined. A rare 1967 penny is part of that same legacy. And when buyers are hungry, sellers have the upper hand. That's why right now, yes, this moment, is one of the strongest windows for cashing in on rare pennies before the market shifts again. The opportunity won't wait forever. But let's not forget the biggest emotional driver of all, transformation. What would you do if a single coin you discovered in an old family box suddenly sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars? Pay off debt? Buy property? Launch a business? Travel the country? Or maybe simply breathe easier knowing you made a decision that created financial security? It's funny how one small piece of copper can create a moment like that. A moment where your past meets your future in the palm of your hand. And yet, there's still a question hanging in the air. If a regular 1967 penny can be worth nearly $1 million today, what will the rarest examples be worth tomorrow? Will they cross the $1 million line permanently? Will collectors start chasing them even harder once the remaining high-grade pieces disappear into private collections? The uncertainty adds pressure. The pressure builds excitement, and excitement drives value, which means the clock is ticking. Before we wrap up, here's a small dose of humor to keep things grounded. Isn't it strange how we spend our lives ignoring pennies, stepping over them, brushing them off, only to find out one might be worth more than a house? It's almost as if the universe is saying, next time, pick it up. And after hearing this, you probably will so keep your eyes open. Check your coins carefully. Don't assume anything. That old jar in your kitchen could hide a fortune. And the next 1967 penny that changes someone's life might be sitting in your home right now, just waiting for the moment you finally recognize it. That if you want to understand how to value your coins, how to sell them for maximum profit, and how to join the thousands of people discovering hidden wealth in everyday change, make sure you stay with this channel. Because the next story we reveal may be the one that shows you exactly how close you are to the wealthy lifestyle you've been dreaming about. And remember, the greatest treasures are often the ones we've been overlooking for years. Your 1967 penny might be one of them. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing the tiny copper coin you tossed into a drawer decades ago could be worth nearly $1 million. It sounds unreal, almost like something out of a movie, but it's the very real story behind one of America's most shocking modern-era treasures, the 1970 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny. A coin so common, so ordinary at first glance, that millions of people unknowingly passed it through their hands. Yet today, the right one can command up to $970,000 in the current market. And what if one of those coins is sitting in your home right now? Welcome to a journey that could change the way you look at every penny in your possession. For years, collectors dismissed modern pennies as everyday spare change. They were too new, too abundant, too plain to be valuable. But hidden inside that assumption is a life-changing mistake. Every so often, a rare variety slips through the cracks of the minting process. An error, a misalignment, a proof struck where a proof should not exist, and suddenly, a simple cent becomes a fortune. That's exactly what happened with the 1970 D Mint penny, a coin that has shocked auction houses, stunned collectors, and opened doors for everyday Americans searching for financial opportunity. But before we dive into the secrets of value, rarity, and how to identify the specific features that make this coin worth a life-changing amount, let's rewind to the era that created it. The year was 1970. America was deep in cultural transformation, technology was advancing rapidly, and the Denver Mint was striking billions of Lincoln cents. Billions, meaning no one expected anything rare to come out of such massive production. But as history shows, the most valuable things often hide in plain sight. Now here's where the story takes a sharp turn. A small number of 1970 D pennies were struck with anomalies that went unnoticed. Some were double dies with strong doubling on the date and lettering. Some had striking irregularities. Some were transitional pieces that should never have existed. And if you're wondering how errors like these slip out of one of the most secure and precise coin production facilities in the world, well, let's just say even the strongest systems have weak moments. Ever sent a text to the wrong person? Same energy, but worth $970,000 instead of mild embarrassment. You might be asking yourself, what exactly makes one of these pennies so valuable? In a word, scarcity. These rare variants are so few, so elusive, that collectors will pay eye-watering prices to secure them. Imagine a one-of-a-kind work of art, except this one is the size of your thumbnail and fits in your pocket. The excitement from collectors isn't just about the metal. It's about the story, the rarity, the bragging rights, and the prestige of owning something the rest of the world missed. Now let's tap into what truly matters to you. What does this mean for your financial future? You're here because you're looking for opportunity. You want to uncover wealth hidden in places others overlook. You want to live with freedom, comfort, and security. And while not every old penny will turn into a million-dollar treasure, the 1970 penny proves that hidden fortunes do exist. They are real, they are discoverable, and they are closer than you think. But before you rush to your coin jar, let's explore the characteristics that separate a regular 1970 penny from the high-value varieties. This is where the search becomes thrilling. Check for doubling around the date and the inscriptions. Look at the edges for irregularities. Examine the mint luster. Study the details of Lincoln's portrait. Some of the rarest examples show doubling so crisp it almost looks like two dates stacked on top of each other. And if you don't trust your own eyes, a magnifying glass becomes your new best friend. Not quite superhero gear, but close enough. And here's a moment to keep your heart beating just a bit faster. Some of the most valuable 1970 pennies were found not by seasoned collectors but by everyday Americans. People cleaning out old drawers, opening inherited boxes, or simply checking loose change. Imagine the shock. Imagine the thrill. Imagine the moment when a coin dealer or an auction house specialist looks at your penny, pauses, and says, "You might want to sit down for this." That single sentence could reshape your financial reality. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's talk strategy. If you do find a promising penny, the worst thing you could do is handle it carelessly. Fingerprints, scratches, and improper storage can slash the value instantly. Think of it like handling a newborn baby, except less crying and potentially more money. Place it gently in a soft holder. Keep it away from moisture, heat, and curious family members who might think it's just a penny. At this point, you may be thinking, what if I don't find anything valuable? What if I'm wasting my time? And here's the truth. The only people who never find treasures are the ones who never look. The very act of searching increases your odds. And as countless collectors and sellers have learned, it only takes one rare coin to change everything. Let's add a little urgency. The coin market moves fast. Values rise, fall, spike, and sometimes skyrocket without warning. Right now, the 1970 penny is commanding up to $970,000 for top-tier examples. But markets evolve. Demand shifts. Opportunities come and go. The real question is, will you act now, or will you look back years from today wishing you had started sooner? And speaking of acting, there's another layer of opportunity most people overlook. Even if you don't own the million-dollar variant, lesser-grade rare examples can still fetch hundreds or thousands. That's the beauty of coin hunting. There isn't just one way to win. There are dozens. You're not chasing a fantasy. You're participating in a proven pathway toward tangible wealth. But don't forget, there's one more twist in this story, something that pulls us into the final moments of this journey. Some collectors believe there are still undiscovered varieties of the 1970 penny out there. Coins that haven't been identified or cataloged yet. Coins sitting unnoticed in basements, safes, old coffee cans, or inherited collections. Every year, new discoveries surface. Every year, someone, somewhere, uncovers a coin that rewrites the price guides. So ask yourself, what if the next discovery is yours? What if right now, without realizing it, you possess something that could transform your financial life? What would that mean for your goals, your security, your family's future? Before we close, here's a little humor to keep things grounded. If you start digging through every drawer in your house after watching this, just remember to stretch first. Coin hunting is exciting, but strained backs are not worth it. Unless, of course, you find the million-dollar penny. In that case, you may brag about the injury for the rest of your life. And now the cliffhanger that keeps this journey alive long after the video ends. The 1970 penny is just one of many rare modern-era coins worth life-changing amounts. But what most people don't know is that another penny from the same decade has recently broken price records, and hardly anyone is talking about it. A coin even more misunderstood, even more overlooked, and potentially just as valuable. But that is a story for the next video. For now, remember this: wealth doesn't always come from big risks or complicated strategies. Sometimes, it arrives in the form of a dusty little copper coin waiting patiently for someone with the curiosity to notice it. That someone might be you. Keep searching, keep learning, and keep believing that opportunity can be found in the smallest places. Because as the 1970 Lincoln penny proves, even a single cent can pave the path to a wealthier, more liberated life. Welcome back. Before you toss that handful of old pennies sitting in a jar or tucked away in a drawer, listen closely. Because one of those coins, one simple copper piece from 1973 with a tiny D mint mark, could be worth not just a few dollars, not a few thousand, but up to millions. And right now, its highest verified market value has surged to an astonishing $973,000. Imagine that. A coin you might have stepped over on the sidewalk could be the very thing that changes your financial future forever. It sounds unbelievable at first. Penny worth more than most homes? More than luxury cars, college tuition, or even entire retirement accounts. But that is exactly why collectors across America are paying closer attention than ever to rare Lincoln cents. And the 1973 D penny has emerged as one of the quiet giants of the market, shocking experts and inspiring everyday people who never imagined they were holding something extraordinary. The real question is, could you be one of them? It often begins with a story. A man in Colorado once found a rare coin in an old tackle box he inherited from his father. Another woman in Ohio pulled a valuable penny from a dusty envelope she assumed held nothing more than pocket change. These stories always begin the same way. People who thought they had nothing, suddenly discovering they had something invaluable. And that's the magic buried in the world of rare coins. You don't need luck. You just need awareness, attention, and the willingness to look. The 1973 D Lincoln penny came from the Denver Mint during a transitional period in American coinage. While millions were struck, only a microscopic fraction escaped the mint with near-perfect surfaces, razor-sharp details, flawless luster, or extremely rare minting anomalies that drive collectors into a frenzy. Most coins were circulated, scratched, or dull, but a very few, survived in pristine condition. Those are the coins commanding jaw-dropping prices today. You might be wondering, how on earth can a copper coin be worth more than a luxury home? It comes down to scarcity, demand, story, and condition. Serious collectors aren't just buying metal. They're buying perfection, history, and bragging rights. A flawless or nearly flawless 1973 D penny graded by top agencies can skyrocket in value overnight. And when wealthy collectors compete for a coin that almost never appears for sale, the price climbs until only the boldest buyer remains. That's when the numbers jump into six figures or beyond. But here's the part most people miss. Some of the rarest 1973 D pennies are still out there, hidden in old estates, forgotten in drawers, trapped in coin jars, waiting. And the thought that yours could be one of them? That small spark of possibility is the reason thousands of Americans have started looking again. Because nothing is more painful than discovering too late that you own something priceless and didn't even know it. If you want to know whether your coin could be worth life-changing wealth, pay close attention. Condition is king. A 1973 D penny with shiny, original luster, minimal scratches, and sharp design details is the type that sells for astonishing prices. Then there are the rare varieties. Double dies, off-center strikes, unusual planchet errors, and other anomalies that collectors chase like buried treasure. Even minor imperfections created during the minting process can transform a penny from worth 1 cent to worth six figures before you can even blink. But don't worry if this sounds overwhelming. Even experts started with nothing but curiosity and a few coins to examine. The key is simple: don't assume anything. Don't overlook what could be the opportunity of a lifetime. The next time you pick up a penny, ask yourself a simple question. What if this is the one? Sure, it's a rhetorical question, but that's how many wealthy collectors started, by wondering. And let's be honest, most people never check. They're too busy, too distracted, or too convinced they wouldn't be lucky enough to own something rare. That hesitation is exactly what keeps fortunes hidden and wealth unclaimed. Meanwhile, those who take action, those who look carefully, those who send their coins for professional grading, are the ones who discover the surprises. If fear of missing out just hit you a little, good, because it should. This is the kind of market where waiting means watching someone else walk away with the money that could have been yours. What makes the 1973 penny especially intriguing is the recent surge in collector interest. As more high-net-worth buyers enter the coin market, prices for elite examples rise. When a coin reaches nearly $1 million at auction, it sends a shockwave through the collecting world. And that shockwave is still expanding. Every year, more people start searching, more coins get graded, and more unexpected discoveries happen. But here's the twist. Once the rarest specimens are found and locked away in private collections, the chances of finding another $1 million penny shrink dramatically. That's why now is the moment. Not 5 years from now. Not when the market cools. Not when the best examples are gone. Right now. Imagine waiting, only to realize someone else found the last great 1973 penny while you were still thinking about checking yours. That kind of regret stays with you, and no one wants to be the person who realizes they once held a fortune between their fingers and let it go. But excitement is just as powerful. Picture yourself selling a rare penny and suddenly having the financial freedom to pay off debts, invest in property, travel wherever you want, or build the life you've always imagined. Sounds dramatic, but it has happened, and it will continue to happen. Wealth often begins with a single moment of awareness, when someone decides to look a little more closely at something they once ignored. So as you listen to this, think about the coins you already own. Think about the drawers, boxes, envelopes, and jars in your home. Think about the collections passed down from parents or grandparents. Every coin tells a story, but some tell a story that ends with financial freedom. And the 1973 penny might be the very coin that rewrites your future. If you're still watching, here comes the part you don't want to miss. The key detail that separates a penny worth 1 cent from a penny worth nearly $1 million. Certification. A coin is only worth what you can prove. That's why professional grading services like PCGS and NGC are essential. They verify authenticity, quality, and condition, giving collectors the confidence to pay top dollar. Without certification, even a valuable coin can sell for a fraction of its true worth. And the last thing you want is to discover later that you let a fortune slip away simply because it wasn't graded. And just when you think the story ends there, there's one more twist. Some experts believe there may still be ultra-rare 1973 varieties that haven't been discovered yet. Imagine being the person who uncovers the next $1 million anomaly. Imagine the headlines. Imagine the excitement. It sounds like a fantasy, but history proves it's not. New discoveries are made every year in the world of pennies. Why not yours next? Stay alert, stay curious, and don't underestimate the power sitting in your own home. The 1973 Lincoln penny is more than a coin. It's a reminder that wealth hides in unexpected places, that opportunity often looks ordinary, and that your next life-changing discovery might be resting quietly in the palm of your hand. So take a moment after this video. Go check your coins. Go look for the mint mark, the details, the luster. Because while most people walk past fortune without even realizing it, you're not most people. And the next time you hear someone say a penny is just a penny, you'll know better. Welcome back. Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that the old 1980 penny sitting in a forgotten jar on your dresser isn't just pocket change. It's a life-altering fortune worth up to millions of dollars. Sounds unreal, right? But stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how a simple no-mint mark Lincoln penny from 1980 can command a staggering current market value of $980,000, and potentially much more. If you've ever dreamed of transforming something ordinary into something that could rewrite your financial future, this might be the moment that shifts everything. Before we dive deeper, think about this. How many times have you handled pennies without a second thought? Probably thousands. Maybe you even brushed off a coin because it looked too old or too worn. But what if the very coin you overlooked is the one that collectors are now battling to own? Funny how life works. Sometimes we chase wealth everywhere except the place right under our noses. The story of the 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln penny starts in a year marked by inflation, shifting U.S. policies, and growing demand for high-precision coinage. The U.S. Mint was pushing capacity, rushing to produce billions of pennies. But in that rush, something unexpected happened. A microscopic combination of perfection, metallurgy, striking pressure, and timing created a handful of 1980 no-mint mark pennies with extraordinary characteristics. Coins so sharp, so flawlessly struck, so visually stunning that they've become legends among collectors. And as any collector will tell you, legends come with jaw-dropping price tags. Now, before you run for your coin jar, here's where things get interesting. Most people believe that coins need to be centuries old to be worth big money. But the 1980 penny shatters that belief. It stands as proof that modern coins, when struck under the right rare conditions, can rival and even surpass the value of older historic pieces. A single pristine penny from 1980 can now sell for a price that once only museum coins could command. And yes, today's serious collectors are paying north of $980,000 for top-graded examples. Let that sink in. A penny that originally cost 1 cent is now worth more than a luxury home. But here's the part that creates both excitement and fear. Excitement because this coin could be hiding anywhere. A drawer, a purse, a childhood collection, maybe even a coin you tossed in a coffee can. Fear because what if you already had one and accidentally spent it? You wouldn't be the first. Collectors still talk about the man who used rare pennies to pay for his morning coffee, unaware he gave away a fortune with his caffeine fix. Hopefully that's not you. To understand why the 1980 no-mint mark penny is so valuable, you need to know what collectors are hunting for. The absence of a mint mark means it was struck in Philadelphia, but that alone isn't what pushes its value skyward. The real money lies in condition. We're talking ultra-high grades, coins preserved in flawless, untouched, museum-level condition with strong strikes, perfect surfaces, and no signs of aging. These are the coins found not in circulation, but in old rolls, forgotten collections, desk drawers, or the possessions of people who saved them for no particular reason, until now. And here's the cliffhanger that keeps the numismatic world buzzing. Experts believe there may still be a handful of these ultra-rare, ultra-high-grade 1980 pennies hidden in homes across America. They have never been submitted for grading, never been placed in a collection, never been recognized for what they are. They're ghosts, valuable, elusive, life-changing ghosts. The kind of discovery that turns ordinary people into overnight success stories. So yes, your penny jar suddenly looks a lot more interesting. The 1980 penny also carries the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, a symbol of perseverance, resilience, and rising against all odds. It's fitting, isn't it? A coin with Lincoln's face offering everyday Americans a chance at financial freedom. A chance to collect wealth not by buying stocks or taking risks, but simply by recognizing the value of something they already own. There's something poetic about that, and maybe even a little funny. Imagine calling your bank and telling them your most valuable asset is a 1-cent coin. But humor aside, there's urgency here. The coin market is booming. High-end collectors are aggressively buying. Auction houses are setting new records. Prices that once seemed impossible are now becoming the norm. And as demand surges, so does the value of rare coins like the 1980 no-mint mark penny. The longer people wait to check their collections, the more likely these hidden treasures get lost, damaged, or discarded. Every year, more old coins disappear forever. And when supply shrinks, prices explode. Look at the recent auctions. Each time a 1980 penny in top condition appears, the bidding war ignites instantly. Dealers, private collectors, even investment groups jump in, trying to secure a piece of numismatic history. The coin doesn't just sell, it erupts. And it's always followed by the same murmurs in the collector community. Where are the rest? Who has the next one? And whose life is about to change? Maybe it's you. Maybe you're holding on to something that could erase debt, pay off a home, or fund a retirement you once thought was out of reach. And maybe you've brushed past this coin 100 times without noticing the opportunity it represents. That's the fear that keeps collectors awake at night, missing out on the discovery of a lifetime. But it's also the excitement that keeps you watching this video. Because deep down, there's a part of you that wonders, what if? Your chances aren't as small as you might think. With billions of these pennies minted, even rare high-grade survivors can be hiding in plain sight. The key is knowing what to look for. A brilliant, clean surface, razor-sharp details, crisp edges, full luster, and minimal marks. And if you find something promising, getting it graded professionally is your next step. A high grade can transform a simple coin into a 6- or 7-figure masterpiece. Here's the moment many viewers wait for, the emotional turn. Because this coin isn't just about money. It's about possibility. It's about realizing that wealth can emerge from unexpected places. It's about reclaiming forgotten value from the past and turning it into a brighter future. You're not just searching for a penny, you're unlocking a mindset. A mindset that wealthy people already understand. Fortune favors those who look closely at the details. And speaking of details, you might want to grab a magnifying glass after this video. Or maybe a whole metal detector. Who knows? The next millionaire might be living in a small town, working a regular job, unaware that their ticket to financial freedom is sitting in a kitchen drawer. It sounds dramatic, but that's the truth of rare coins. They don't look like diamonds or gold bars. They look ordinary, until they aren't. As we approach the end, here's your final cliffhanger. In private circles, some experts whisper that the highest grade 1980 no mint mark penny still hasn't been found. They believe the ultimate specimen, the perfect coin, is out there. And when it surfaces, it could surpass every record, potentially selling for multiple millions. Will it appear this year? Next year? Or will someone watching this video be the one to uncover it? The opportunity is real, the stakes are high, and time is working against you. But the reward? The reward is the kind of wealth that changes everything. If you have even a handful of old pennies saved, check them. Search through your jars, your drawers, those old boxes from your parents or grandparents. Your future self might thank you. And if you're still watching, you're exactly the kind of person who finds treasures, patient, curious, and ready to act. So go look, because the most valuable penny of your life might be closer than you think. What if the penny sitting quietly in your junk drawer, the one you haven't touched in years, is actually worth more than your car, your mortgage, or even your entire savings account? Sounds unbelievable, right? Yet across America, ordinary people are waking up to discover that they've been carrying a fortune disguised as a simple 1-cent coin. And today, you're about to learn why a 2006 mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin most people spent without a second thought, has recently shocked collectors by selling for over $206,000, with experts predicting the rarest examples could climb into the millions. But before you rush to grab every penny in your house, stay with me. Because the truth behind this coin isn't just about metal and mint marks. It's about timing, knowledge, and the realization that wealth doesn't always come from big investments. Sometimes it's hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right person to take it seriously. That person might just be you. It all began with a single discovery. A collector examined a 2006 penny and noticed something unusual, something so tiny most people would never catch it. The coin had been struck with such perfection, such flawless brilliance, that graders awarded it a once-in-a-lifetime designation. And just like that, a coin worth 1 cent skyrocketed to a 6-figure auction result. That sale sent shockwaves through the numismatic world, stirring excitement, disbelief, and yes, a little panic. Because if one person found one, how many more might still be out there? And here's where things get interesting. The 2006 penny isn't rare because they made few of them. In fact, they produced hundreds of millions. But most were circulated, scratched, worn, tossed into pockets, and forgotten. But a microscopic few, those struck with absolute precision, became modern treasures. These are the coins investors now chase with the same determination others chase stocks or real estate. The right coin, in the right condition, can change someone's financial future overnight. If that doesn't make you want to grab a magnifying glass, what will? Of course, you might be wondering, why would anyone pay $206,000 for a penny minted in 2006? After all, it's not ancient. It's not made of gold. It's not connected to some secret government mystery, unless you count the mystery of why your couch cushions haven't made you rich yet. The real answer comes down to perfection. The highest graded 2006 pennies have surfaces so untouched, so pristine, that they appear frozen in time. Collectors call these coins top pop, meaning the best-known example in existence. And serious collectors will compete fiercely, even aggressively, to own the single finest version of any coin. When there is only one at the top, the bidding becomes a battle and the price becomes a story. But here's the part people overlook. The discovery of that top-tier penny created a new urgency. It sparked a wave of treasure hunters, investors, and everyday people searching through old jars and bank rolls. Because where there is one extraordinary example, there may be another, or something even rarer. The fear of missing out is real. Nobody wants to be the person who threw away a life-changing coin. And yet, every day someone does. Imagine finding a penny worth hundreds of thousands and spending it on a pack of gum because you didn't know any better. How many times has that happened? How many people watching this right now might have already spent one of these treasures? That question alone keeps collectors up at night, and it's exactly why awareness is everything. And let's be honest, this isn't just about collecting. It's about financial opportunity. For many Americans, especially those aged 30 to 65, the desire to build real wealth is stronger than ever. Jobs change, the economy shifts, prices rise, but hidden value exists all around us, waiting to be recognized. People talk about passive income, but is there anything more passive than a penny you've already owned for years suddenly becoming a windfall? Sometimes, opportunity doesn't knock, it jingles. But don't rush just yet because the story isn't over. In fact, it gets even more intriguing. Some experts now believe the 2006 Lincoln penny could become the next modern coin to break the $1 million mark. A bold claim, but history suggests it's possible. Every major coin ever sold for a record-breaking price started the same way. One example appeared, then demand surged, then collectors competed until the price hit levels people never imagined. And with the rarity of high-grade modern coins increasing as time passes, the window to discover one is slowly closing. That brings us to the most important question. How do you know if you have a valuable 2006 penny? The answer lies in a combination of condition, luster, strike quality, and subtle minting characteristics. Most valuable examples show full, razor-sharp details in Lincoln's hair and beard, clean and glowing copper surfaces, and not a single scratch visible even under magnification. These coins often look like they were minted seconds ago, not nearly 20 years ago. If you find something like that, don't spend it, don't clean it, don't toss it back into a coin roll. Handle it like it could pay for your retirement because it might. And here's a small but important warning. Many people ruin potentially valuable coins by cleaning them, scrubbing them, or trying to shine them up. That might make your kitchen sink clean, but your penny? It loses thousands instantly. Collectors want originality, authenticity, untouched surfaces, the kind of coin that whispers its own history without you polishing the story away. Now, if you're thinking your pennies are probably just pennies, consider this. Millions of Americans thought the same thing about another modern coin years ago, right before one sold for nearly $2 million. The people who acted early, who checked their coins, educated themselves, and learned what to look for were the ones who won big. The ones who waited? Well, let's just say they waited too long. And as you're listening right now, you might be holding a glass jar, a coffee can, a drawer full of coins that you've ignored for a decade. Maybe you picked up some change from the floor of your car earlier today. Maybe you even have a 2006 penny sitting beside you at this very moment. What if that tiny piece of copper is your turning point? The moment everything changes? After all, someone's going to find the next record breaker. Why can't it be you? But there's one more twist, one more cliffhanger in this story. A few collectors believe that not all rare 2006 pennies have been identified yet. They suspect there may be an undiscovered variety, a subtle minting anomaly, that could send shockwaves through the hobby and push the value into the $1 million range. It hasn't been confirmed. Not yet. But every discovery in coin history began with a rumor, a suspicion, a tiny detail someone almost ignored. So while the world waits for proof, someone, somewhere is going to make that discovery first. Could it be hiding in your collection? This is the moment where curiosity turns into action. Not tomorrow. Not eventually. Now. Because every day that passes, more coins vanish into circulation, into machines, into hands that will never understand what they had. The window to find greatness closes a little more each second. If you have pennies, check them. If you have jars, empty them. If you have rolls, sort them. Your financial breakthrough might be sitting quietly in the dark, waiting for you to give it a chance. And as we come to the end of the story, remember this: wealth doesn't always come from where you expect. Sometimes it comes from the overlooked, the ordinary, the everyday objects we treat as meaningless. But meaning changes when knowledge enters the picture. Suddenly, a penny becomes an opportunity. An opportunity becomes a strategy. And a strategy becomes a new life, one built on awareness, curiosity, and the willingness to look where others don't. So now the question is simple: will you let this moment pass? Or will you take control and discover whether your next fortune is already in your hands? The next great 2006 Lincoln penny is out there. Someone will find it. Someone will profit from it. Someone will change their future because of it. The only question left is, will that someone be you? What if the coin you've been overlooking for years, the one worth just 1 cent on paper, is secretly worth more than a luxury car, more than a year's salary, more than some people's homes? What if a simple 2007 Mint Mark Lincoln penny could be the turning point in your financial life? It sounds unbelievable. It sounds impossible. And yet, it's happening right now for collectors who know exactly what to look for. The truth is, not all modern coins are created equal. And this particular year, this particular mint mark, holds a secret that continues to shock the coin market. A 2007 Lincoln penny, something millions of Americans have handled without a second thought, has reached a staggering current market value of $207,000. And in rare cases, under the right circumstances, certain specialty errors and high-grade examples have been projected to reach into the millions. Yes, millions. All from a coin worth just 1 cent on its face. If that doesn't make you want to dig through your spare change, what will? But before we get to exactly why this humble penny can command a life-changing price, take a breath and imagine what it would feel like to find a coin like this. Imagine holding something so small, so ordinary, yet knowing it could pay off your mortgage, fund your retirement, or give you the freedom to live the wealthy lifestyle you've always wanted. And then ask yourself, how many of these coins have passed through your hands already? How many were lost, ignored, or accidentally spent at a drive-thru because you had no idea what you were holding? It's a terrifying thought, but also an exciting one, because now you know better, and the opportunity is still out there. Collectors and investors in their 30s to 60s are rediscovering these modern rarities because the market is shifting. People want alternative assets, something real, something tangible, something that doesn't vanish the moment the stock market trembles. A rare penny, especially one with an extraordinary error or pristine condition, becomes a symbol of security. And in a world full of financial uncertainty, that security feels priceless. But ironically, these pennies do have a price, and it's rising fast. So what makes the 2007 penny so special? How does an everyday copper-plated coin suddenly turn into a six-figure treasure? The answer lies in a combination of scarcity, condition, and errors. Tiny minting anomalies that transform an average coin into a collector's dream. Some 2007 pennies were struck with off-center errors. Others showed doubled dies where the lettering, date, or design elements appear slightly doubled. A few present dramatic plating bubbles or extraordinary misalignments. And then there are the unicorns, the highest graded, near-perfect examples that survive in mint state 68 or above. These elite coins are so flawless, so immaculate, that collectors will outbid each other into financial madness just to own one. Imagine scrolling through an online auction, watching the bids climb $20,000, $50,000, $100,000, and then suddenly $200,000 for a penny. Who makes these decisions? Why do they pay these amounts? Because perfection is rare. Error is even rarer. And rarity is the heartbeat of value. The collectors who understand this don't hesitate. They know every year, every mint mark, and every coin has its story. The question is whether you'll read the story before it becomes too late. But here's where things get even more thrilling and a little frightening. As awareness grows, more people are checking their coins. More people are submitting them to grading services. And as more are discovered, the competition intensifies. Today's $207,000 penny could become tomorrow's $500,000 showstopper. Or, if someone finds one even more perfect, even more astonishing, the first one to hit the $1 million mark. Will it be a coin sitting right now at the bottom of your glove compartment? Or tucked away in a jar in your kitchen? That thought alone should put a little urgency in your fingertips. Of course, it's easy to assume that only seasoned collectors make these discoveries. But the truth is, most of the biggest finds come from regular people, people who weren't even trying. Someone cleaning their home, someone cashing in spare change, someone inheriting an old coin jar from a parent or grandparent. It almost feels like fate chooses who gets wealthy. But in reality, it's not fate. It's awareness. It's having the knowledge to recognize what others overlook. And this is where many people hesitate. They worry they don't have the experience. They fear they'll miss something important. They think it's too late to join the world of rare coins. But it's not too late. It's never too late. The coin market is hotter now than ever, especially for modern issues like the 2007 penny that weren't appreciated at the time. And you don't need decades of expertise. You just need guidance, curiosity, and the willingness to look at your coins differently. Now, before we uncover the exact features you should be hunting for on your own 2007 penny, a list that could genuinely change your financial future, there's something important to understand. Prices like $207,000 don't happen without a reason. They come from professional grading. They come from auctions where serious collectors battle for ownership. They come from scarcity that can't be replicated, so next time you find a clean, shiny 2007 penny, don't think, oh, it's just a normal coin. Think instead, what hidden potential might be here? That one shift in thinking separates wealthy collectors from people who unknowingly let fortune slip through their fingers. And trust me, slipping through your fingers is exactly what most people's wealth does. Isn't it time you changed that? Now, here's the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. The most valuable 2007 pennies did not become valuable because of a single detail, but because of a combination of rare features working together. And one of those features, one that most people never even consider, is something so subtle, so overlooked, that even experienced collectors have missed it for years. And we're about to reveal it. Look closely at the strike. The sharpness of Lincoln's cheek and jawline, the crispness of the lettering, the presence of microscopic die chips or doubling, the evenness of the copper plating, and yes, the alignment of the strike itself. Many of the million-dollar projected coins show signs of extraordinary die conditions, meaning they came from a fresh, unworn die in its earliest moments of use. This results in razor-sharp detail that stands out even to the naked eye, if you know what to watch for. Most people don't. But now you do. While examining your coin, ask yourself questions. Does it look almost too perfect? Does it have an unusual shine or depth? Does something about it feel different from normal pocket change? Sometimes your instinct notices what your eyes haven't processed yet. And if you do spot something intriguing, don't hesitate. The greatest enemy of opportunity is hesitation. Send it for grading. Seek professional evaluation. Because the worst-case scenario is you spend a few dollars, and the best-case scenario is you discover a life-changing treasure. And here's the part that really brings everything together. In a market where uncertainty seems to rise every day, rare coins like the 2007 penny offer something simple but powerful. Control. You can hold it. You can store it. You can pass it down. You can sell it when the time is right. And unlike many assets, a coin doesn't lose value because someone posted a bad headline online. It keeps its worth through history, collectors, and unrepeatable mistakes from the mint itself. So, as you finish this video, don't just walk away entertained. Walk away motivated. Because right now, somewhere in your home, there could be a fortune waiting. A tiny piece of metal with the power to rewrite your financial story. A coin whose value has already reached $207,000 and could climb far higher in the years to come. Wealth isn't always loud. Sometimes it jingles quietly in your pocket, hoping you'll finally pay attention. And the question that should stay with you long after this video ends is simple. Will you check your coins today? Or will someone else discover the treasure that could have been yours? Because that answer may just determine who becomes wealthy next.